Whether it's
clever comebacks,
books,
North Atlantic Treaty,
or blurred images,
there's a sub for that.
Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
I'm your host, Scott.
And I am your other host, Willy.
We are a show all about Reddit,
covering all the ups and downvotes in about 30 minutes.
If you like the show, you can find more of us
on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Or in a BMW paid subscription.
It's funny that you bring that up, Scott, because I don't know if you realize this, but Tesla is very similar to BMW. Elon is just sinking, right? He's sinking lower and lower because he lost his Twitter deal, and
Does he have to buy it now? Is it official?
It's not official, but I guess I'll just tell you right now. We're already talking about it. He said he's going to pull out of the deal, and I follow these two YouTubers on...
Man, I think that's the first thing he's been able to successfully pull out of in a long time.
Is he still dating Amber Heard? Because he probably pulled out of that a few times.
Damn. She probably pulled out of him, too.
But essentially, Twitter hired the best law firm in the United States. For example, they hire, like, this law firm, I can't remember the name, starts an associate lawyer at like $250,000.
$450, Willy.
$450?
$450. Because I saw the video that you're talking about. Yeah. They start at $450,000. The motto must be all we do is win. And the rain. They make it rain.
Absurd. So anyways, I think that law schools are probably going to be studying this fight for quite a long time to see if Elon wins, if Twitter wins, whatever. It's a bunch of really wealthy people doing things that are meaningless to us, but something that's meaningful to me. Twitter. Tesla, on the other hand, I don't know if you realize this, but they put subscription-based things behind paywalls for Tesla drivers as well. So when I first got my car last August,
you didn't have all the bells and whistles, but you could.
I could have.
Right?
There's a cold weather package, which at the time was pay $300 to get not just heated seats in the front, but get them in the back. $300. We'll give the rear heated seats a try. You can have it forever while you own the car.
I charge much less for my cold weather package.
It's free. But now they've added something that it has enticed me. It also comes with a heated steering wheel.
That's already built into the car?
It came with a steering wheel that had the heating coils, but they didn't have it built into the software. So they're like, well, put the hardware into it, and when we figure it out, we'll just make people pay for it.
That's so weird.
And stupid.
That's like James Cameron saying, you know what, let's just film Avatar, and I'll fix everything in post once the technology exists.
Those movies are going to be great.
They're going
Hold
to
your tongue, sir.
They're going to be an L7 weenie.
You're a wiener. Stupid, and I hate you. When's the last time you actually heard somebody unironically say you're an L7 wiener?
I've never heard it because it was in The Sandlot, and that's where I heard. That's where it exists. I've never heard anybody say it outside of that movie, besides myself.
Not in the 90s, because there's an Ask Reddit this week that says, what was normal in the 90s but rare or non-existent now?
A lot of bad words.
Go on.
I don't want the show to get canceled, Willy, so I can't say them. Let's just say a couple episodes back, more than a couple, but we talked about playing games. One of them is where you would have to try and tackle a certain chosen person, and they were labeled a tag that we just don't use anymore in that context.
Well, let me give you a few examples, and I just want you to come down the rabbit hole with me, back to our childhood, your adulthood. I don't know. There's an age difference here.
I have a painting hanging in a room. I never age.
Somebody said this, and it's so true. It says, hey, what's that guy from that one thing? I don't know. Me neither. Oh, well.
Yeah, you back then you could just say like, well, we'll find out tomorrow. I'll call you later tonight from my I guess we had wireless phones back then.
No, they were corded in the 90s. They became wireless later. I remember when we got our first wireless phone.
Or if you were at a bar, which we weren't at that time, but somebody was just probably.
I went to bars with my parents when I was 7. Suck it.
That
adults.
Explains a lot.
Yep.
Were you from Wisconsin?
Northern Minnesota. It's pretty much the same thing.
Same thing. But if somebody was in a bar and just said something, you took it as fact, and that was your Wikipedia right there. Just Larry, 3 Pabst Blue Ribbons in,
tongue fucking the stem of a cherry, saying, "Not only am I gonna make out with your wife, but did you know the Earth is flat? Prove me wrong. You can't. You just can't."
Oh, Doyle rules.
What about this one, Scott? You and I love movies. Do you remember what you had to do if you woke up one morning, you're feeling excited because you get to spend the day with mom or dad, and my dad's like, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" I sure do, Dad. I sure do. So what do? How do you find out when the movie's playing?
You would have to go to your newspaper and look at the times that were printed, hopefully by newspaper A or B, whatever town you lived in, or you just effing gambled, and you drove to the theater, and hopefully it was around the time.
You're bold. No, we called.
Oh yeah, you could do that too. But I do remember actually like driving down to the theater and just say like, okay, the next showing is in an hour from now. Let's buy tickets, and then we can go get something to eat, and we don't have to waste money on like movie popcorn and stuff.
Theater popcorn with real butter, which is hard to come by nowadays.
Doesn't exist anymore. And
a large Coke, which, by the way, back then cost you 12 raspberries. Today it costs you your firstborn child. That's a necessity for me. I went and saw Thor: Love and Thunder whenever it came out last week, and I was pissed off because I showed up late during the previews, and I was
Doesn't matter.
I'm not gonna get my popcorn. This is fucking stupid. I hate this. And then somebody I was sitting next to was like, "Just go get."
Do you want my popcorn?
No, I went and got some.
And then you reached in, and there was something besides popcorn in there.
Penis. It was a lot of penis.
So much penis.
So much penis, man. This is not something that I experienced, but did you ever go to the airport and wait for somebody at their gate?
All the time, yeah. My dad played in pool or billiards tournaments back in the day, and so he would go to Las Vegas. He did pretty well for himself. We would go to the gate to see him off, and then just be hanging out exactly by the window. You could see the plane pull up. I remember, hands on the glass, like slapping on it, waving. It's wild that we were able to do that.
Mm-hmm. I have one more here for you. Talking to your friend's mom.
What?
To see if they were home, you sick fuck.
Oh. Can Willy come out to play?
We had to do that all the time. Nowadays, what? You just send him a text?
Zach Wilson just texts his mom's friend, except he doesn't care if so-and-so is over.
So when we were children, we would call the other person's mom and be like, "Hey, Marcia, can Scott come out and play?" But now I would send you a text and be like, "Hey, you want to fuck on this? Because I'm over here vibing."
I've
Pull
never
up,
used
G.
those. Okay, I don't believe you. And if you ever send me a text like that, I'm immediately blocking your contact. But speaking of nostalgia and 90s nostalgia, this week in gaming, there was a post titled 33 up early, first in line, 4 PS5s available. Nostalgic vibes. It was a great day. Willy, do you have a story, specifically a video game story, where you went and waited in line? I know you were like a Call of Duty player. Did you ever like wait for the early release or do a pre-order at a GameStop or something like that? I have one that's very, I guess, etched into the core of my gaming brain. It was the year 2000. In the year 2000. Okay, I don't want to get sued by Conan. Yeah. I'm down in Marshall, Minnesota. First year of college.
It's a real happening place to be.
You know what also came out in the year 2000? The PlayStation 2.
Ooh.
So,
isn't that still today the best-selling console of all time?
I mean, the PlayStation 4 might have crushed it, but I'll have you do some research while I tell the rest of my story. Anyway, PlayStation 2 is about to drop. I've got some money. Why don't I just go buy it? And I tell my friend who has a car, I'm like, would you be willing to drive me to the Shopko in town for the midnight release? And he's on board. I'm super stoked. And then I call my parents and I'm just like, hey, would it be okay if I spent $300 to buy this PlayStation 2?
Mind you, $300 in
$2,000. Yeah.
Was a lot of money.
And it's a lot of money for a college student who doesn't have a job. This was just like the spending cash they gave me for the whole year. And bless my parents, they were just like, you know, if you think that's the best use of the money we gave you, okay. But it's going to be a learning moment. You just have to realize once that money's gone, it's gone. And I said, thank you so much. I won't regret it. Click. And then we drive to the Shopko at 11 o'clock. Get in line. And this store is so forward in their thinking that they're like, okay, we're a college town. There's probably going to be a mad rush. Here's how many we have. I'm going to give you a slip of paper with a number on it. And once they're gone, we'll just turn people away at the door. Because the Shopko closed from like midnight to 2 a.m. So it wasn't really a true midnight release. It was just like a restock, get everything cleaned up.
Sure.
And then we'll open up again. I got number 7 of 11. Yeah.
They only had 11?
They only had 11, so I was there just in time. And then I went back to my dorm and immediately passed out. I didn't even open it up because I had class the next morning.
So 2 things. Follow up. The PlayStation 2 is the top-selling console of all time. It came out in 2000. It has sold over 155 million units. Followed by the Nintendo DS that sold 154 million units in 2004. Game Boy Color is all under one category. And then, Scott, is the PlayStation 4.
What's the number for PS4?
117.2 million.
Isn't it crazy to think that there's 300 million, approximately maybe at that time, inhabitants of the United States? Half of the United States population had a PlayStation 2.
I don't know if that's accurate because it's a worldwide release.
Oh, it was worldwide. Okay. Well, that makes it even crazier then, because we had 6 point whatever billion people and only 154 million. It seems like such a small number. Yeah.
I never really had the funds myself or my parents. My parents didn't invest in video games to buy these things right on release day. But what I will tell you is I was very fortunate growing up to have the aunt and uncle situation that everybody wants, which is an aunt and uncle that don't have their own children, but are very financially stable, meaning they have a really great job. They are owners of companies.
Dual income, no kids.
Exactly. So they decided we want to spoil our nieces and nephews. So I would wait until Christmas or post-Christmas, get this money from my aunt and uncle, and then I would go out and buy whatever new thing, which meant I was a little late to the party, but it was for me and I didn't care.
So your aunt and uncle gave you a bag every Christmas, just a sack full of cash.
Yes. Put it this way, Scott. I bought the first iPhone myself when it came out, and I was
straight cash, homie.
$800.
That was $800. Wow. I knew somebody, so I got a discount.
Oh, good for you.
Last week we posted a shorter episode because we were super excited to see the first photo from the James Webb Space Telescope. Now that we have had a chance, the opportunity, the fortune to live in a time where we get to see 5 photos from this telescope.
Yeah. We were so excited that we forgot totally about doing upvotes and downvotes last week.
Mind you, it was a 17-minute episode, 20-something episode. We recorded for like 2.5 hours.
I know. Those son of a bitches, just for whatever reason. Oh yeah, we're gonna have this conference at 4:00. Just kidding, it's 4:30, and it started late. And then they fucking waxed on about like, oh yeah, look, let's go around and circle jerk everybody for like how we got here. We're just never mind thanking the American people for the $10 billion in taxpayer money that it took to get this piece of technology in the sky.
Okay, Boomer, calm down.
I just want a card. That's all. I just want a card.
One of the things I was most excited about last week was going onto TikTok, seeing all of these incredible videos because TikTok knows everything about us. Hank Green posted a video, and I loved it.
He's so good.
It was this video about how from the very first inception of man looking down at the ground and saying, huh, what's up? And you look up, and then you see stars, and you go, there's more to this. There's got to be more to this. Fast forward, telescopes, bigger telescopes, really big telescopes. Let's push a telescope into the sky, have it beam us shit back to us. It's just bigger and better telescopes, right? And then we say, fuck it. You know what? Our telescopes aren't good enough. So what are we going to do? We're going to take the best telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, and we're going to point it at a natural telescope, meaning a place in the sky where the gravity is so strong that it creates a lens and shows us shit further. It's literally a telescope looking at a telescope showing us shit. Which of the photos that they released last week was your favorite?
The one I used for the cover art for our YouTube episode, actually.
It made me feel so small and so inconsequential, but also so excited. When that photo was posted, sorry, I totally teared up. I was sitting there on my couch thinking, this is unreal. What we're looking at, where we've progressed. This photo, to me, represents so much of what greatness we can do when we get all the other little bullshit out of the way.
I know. It's that saying, that phrase of, I was born
for this, Maybelline?
Yeah. I was born too late to experience, the first World's Fair and dinosaurs, but way too early for space exploration. Like all that Star Trek stuff that hopefully we make it to if all the plankton don't die and kill the Earth. It's happening.
Hey, speaking of environmental stuff, though, there was a post last week from Black People Twitter that said, we, as a society, need to agree that paper straws are dumb AF.
Yeah. I would agree.
But hold on. Here's what it is. It's a screenshot of Kylie Jenner. We know.
Boo.
Exactly. Of her Instagram. And at the bottom, her comment says, you want to take mine or yours? And in the image, there is one big-ass jet on the left and one big-ass jet on the right. And right below that, Chokes on D's nuts, I added the last part, said, oh, but I must cycle to work, use paper straws, limit beef consumption in order to reduce my carbon footprint?
Did you say they were big-ass jets because she literally has a huge ass?
Kylie Jenner's the skinny model once got pay attention.
I don't know.
I could be totally wrong. I have no idea.
Don't lie. You know. You know.
Isn't she the one from the Pepsi ad, the one everybody hates? I don't know. I hate them all. I hate them all.
They all look the same. It's, genetic.
Fake. Or genetics. One of the two. You decide.
Now, hold on, Willy. Before before you get all judgmental, I took my jet to work the other day, and I didn't hear you complaining about that.
Scott, how many times do I have to tell you? You drive an Acura. It's not a jet.
Listen, if I put the windows down and I stick my arms out, okay, it's the same thing. Makes the same sound. You try that every fucking time. You're like, Willy, put your hand out the window. Willy, put your hand out the window. And I do it. But flaps.
Give
me the flaps, Willy.
Only lifted 2 inches off the ground. And that was no rush hour traffic, perfect conditions, but a fluke. It had to have been a fluke, all right?
Yeah, we didn't eat for like a day, and we just started to lift. Take that, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Speaking of things that some consider attractive, this week in Today I Learned, ostrich farms routinely have difficulties getting male ostriches to breed because they often find their human caretakers more attractive than female ostriches. You have the perfect James Franco from the interview face. Yeah.
Are you trying to tell me that an ostrich will look at a human and be like, yep, I'd fuck that?
The article is from Gizmodo. Gizmodo? I don't know. I'm going to go with the second one. But it says, no, seriously, the next time you find yourself at an ostrich ranch, there's a pretty decent chance you are getting hit on by an ostrich.
No, seriously, Gizmodo, could you get your horny fucks out of my inbox? Or boxes in general? Listen, I don't know if I necessarily want to think about an ostrich with its wings up coming at me like I'm going to come on you.
I mean, just think about this, though. I mean, ostriches are usually very happy to see humans. In fact, both male and female ostriches solicited sex more than twice as often when humans were nearby. 70% of these ostriches reliably hit on the humans that were around, and turns out that being raised by humans can change what an ostrich is attracted to. So they've got Stockholm Syndrome, Willy. We're giving ostriches psychological problems by raising them on farms. What hath we wrought?
I never thought that I would ask this question, especially in a place where it's going to go on the internet. But alas, here we are. Scott, we grew up watching a lot of Disney movies and shows, and a lot of them hypersexualized animals. Don't you deny that Nala did not give you those come fuck me eyes when you were watching Lion King.
You can't put that language into past tense. They still do it today. I mean, did you see Zootopia?
Did you see the original Space Jam?
That was Warner Brothers, but still, they were all on board. They were all complicit.
What breed of animal, if you had no other choice, and somebody said, you got to do it, man. You have to do it. Has decided that either death or doing it, which animal decide? I don't know if that's how you say that. Is that how you say that? I didn't read any Shakespeare book growing up.
Listen, Dolph Lundgren, I'm not going to be made into some Black Mirror episode.
Do it.
I will join my place in the stars. I choose death.
And I choose lions.
Oh
Grr.
my gosh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think that is the quickest form of death, trying to actually have sex with a lion.
They're like, no, Willy, you don't get to choose death. Scott chose death. And I go, great, hippo.
I wish I had an actual button to downvote you with. But instead, how about we go into this week's upvotes and downvotes?
It's sometimes good. It's sometimes not. It's time for ups and down votes with Willy and Scott. Now, we're going to do something a little different. Instead
It's a new
dawn.
It's a new day.
Anything more and we'll probably get sued by Michael Bublé. This week, we're going to try something. We are going to take a gamble.
That you guys listen to us at this part of the podcast.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip a coin, and whoever wins the coin toss gets to share their upvote on the podcast. And the other person's upvote is going to pop on over to TikTok. And then we're going to flip a coin and see who gets to share their downvote. And where can you find the other downvote?
I think you just explained it.
Oh, yeah, it's on our TikTok. Yep.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
I think we should give the audience a little bit more credit that they can follow along. But we're just going to flip a coin once, and somebody gets to be Mr. Positive, and the other person has to be Debbie Downer.
Scott, you're older. I'm taller. You go first. Heads or tails?
Heads, always.
Tails. So it looks like I get to be the upvote.
Dang it.
Yes. Scott, we've talked a lot this week about gaming. We've talked a ton. And something that hit me in the feels this week was a photo that said, "This is where gaming design peaked." And it is a photo, an amalgamation of what I would consider the best gaming consoles of our lives.
Peak video game design for consoles, for the hardware that you use, had to have been when everything was a almost transparent plastic in a full array of colors.
Neon colors, bright, bold, absurd.
Many of you owned a Game Boy Color or a Game Boy Advance that was a purple plastic see-through.
That is the exact Game Boy Color that I owned. Did you own anything else on this photo?
I owned a regular N64, but it came with a translucent purple controller.
I had a Nintendo 64 myself with the orange controller and that like blue turquoise aqua color. I had both of those colors. The one thing that shows up twice in here that I never owned and everybody in my middle school had was a Tamagotchi.
I had one.
You were in high school.
I murdered it.
The fuck is wrong with you, man? You were in high school. Weren't you trying to do girls?
Yes, and what better way to show off than to show that you could take care of a digital pet?
Did it work?
Not at all.
Okay.
What better way to pass the time after being stuffed in a locker by the jocks? All right. My downvote of the week, speaking of women, is from Interesting AF. It's about a monk who died in Greece without ever seeing a woman. Just think about this. In Athens, without ever seeing a woman in the 82 years of his life, this monk died in Mount Athos Monastery. Neither had he been in an automobile, seen a movie, or flown in an airplane. His mother died when he was born. He was brought up to the monastery where no women ever enter. He became a monk, and the monks at the monastery gave him a special burial ceremony because they believed he was the only man in the world to have never seen a woman. You got pretty close there for a while, right? Sorry. Touched a woman. Touched a woman. That's different.
What are you talking? Okay, hold on. Listen, we're going to go there, and I just have to ask this. I have to ask you, Scott, what do you think the average age is of a man having sex? American man.
Oh. I'm going to say 19 years old. Now, Willy is actually doing the research.
I hate this.
Please tell me it's legal.
What age did you say?
19.
I'm uncomfy.
Is it 12?
No, it's older than that.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, well, here's the deal, Scott. According to Virginia.gov, back in 2016, the average age of first sexual intercourse was 15 and a half years old.
Oh. All right.
And 22% of males reported that their first interaction happened between the ages of 10 and 13.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
And if you want, you can find more of us on our socials, and we'll see you next week.